What do we call this? Over the top.
Over the top.
I like 60-50.
Two regular guys, yeah.
Two regular guys. That's who we are.
60-50 production.
Greg came up with an idea recently for a politically motivated book, I guess you could say. But being two regular guys, we are not politicians, thank goodness.
Yeah, that's
we
true.
are not public people. But as two regular guys, Greg realized that a concept was born. DC Squares, you want to tell them a little about how you came up with the thought process behind this, which became a book that we co-authored? DC Squares.
DC Squares, that says it all. Bottom line is, without giving away everything, we just encourage you to look at this and order it, because it's a great way for people to get over the frustration everyone has, because let's face it, who out there is not frustrated with these ridiculous formats on these debates? It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, the presidential debates in 2016 were just despicably, I don't know, irritating.
Infantile, childish, ridiculous.
It became really... one line in the book says, we wouldn't let our kids get away with that behavior. Who wants to elect them, for the White House?
Anybody that stomps their feet and is raising their hand quickly and saying, he evoked my name, he evoked my name.
Teacher, tattle, tattle, tale.
It's just ridiculous. So we think we have some not only solutions, but as John said, just a little bit of a satirical approach on it. And also, quite honestly, we got just enough humor there to make it worth reading. It's only 64 pages. It's an easy 1 hour read for the average reader. But it's just a book that explains not only just what's going on, how to fix it, but a lot of valuable information on websites, access, and things like that. But
we've got a problem with a lot of people not realizing that it's not just satire. So, Greg, we realize that some people watch Saturday Night Live for certain content. This is beyond that. It's got cartoons, and it's fun to read, but really, there's a message in there.
Yeah, and the message, again, is how to fix it. And what book that you can read in an hour that has great information that's important for everyone to know is not complete without Scooby-Doo?
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, and we'll cut to that. So, Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo is relatively well-known, and
he is.
Sergeant Schultz and others appear in this book. So,
Gordon Gekko. All the greats are here.
Greed is good. We have, what's that? The Wizard of Oz. See, Andrew, everybody's got their fan base, and these are touched on in this book. What we wanted you to know is it's available on Amazon. It's called The DC Squares: How Voters Can Win the Presidential Election.
That's right.
It features pictures of candidates on the cover, and it's a must-read.
It is. And it's getting some great reviews for the first month out. Nearly 100 books have been purchased.
A lot of folks are viewing us on YouTube, and we want you to know that Over the Top is a new YouTube channel, and we're starting this with the purpose of bringing you dialogue every week. We're going to be recording these on Friday mornings, but we're going to air this at a time. We're going to release these at a time that we disclose when we figure that out. They were interviewing a candidate today on one of the local news outlets, and it was somebody that was actually a Jefferson City person from Missouri.
The capital.
And they were talking about the recent legislative session, and it was not easy to find bill numbers. And they said, we don't even know who's introducing this legislation.
Are you serious? They really were?
They were really talking about that on...
And why don't we tell them what happened? We were looking for those bill numbers.
So,
wow.
Bill numbers is an amazing fiasco.
Yes.
We talk about Greg and I actually went on a little mission to find some voting records of certain presidential candidates. We can name them, but the candidates are obvious. It's just the voting records are not obvious.
No, they're not.
I think Greg said they're hiding in plain sight.
Correct. And maybe we can tell a little more about when we were sitting there at Hebrew Coffee putting all this together.
When we were in Hebrew's Coffee.
Making the call to Staffer Kelly.
That was so funny. We just started calling this local senator's, U.S. senator's staff to find out how to find the voting record. And
John, is it fair to let people know now that are not slanted right or left. It's just a direct. There's no
we're
spin
slanted
on it.
Sideways. Is
We're
what we
slanted
are.
sideways.
We are not.
And we're right up the middle on this book. Our personal views are not what's in this book. What's in the book is helping people understand how to get the facts you need, but maybe we can just give them a little bit of that story that's related more in the book. But just basically what happened as far as these poor staffers, we call both Republican offices and Democratic offices, and I think that John and I helped to enlighten this particular staffer that it's not easy to find what we were trying to find, which was the voting records of candidates.
Yeah, it's like you can search the bill, says the staffer. What would we enter in the search line? Well, you'd have to know the bill number. That's what we've been told. Okay.
Hang on, I got my wallet. I got all those here.
Let me see. I got my bill numbers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Who's
it's
got
a
their
phone
bill
book,
numbers?
yeah.
You know what? I've got my bill numbers in the car. What do we need to do? Well, how would you look up individual bill numbers? It'd be a little bit of a. This is a quote from the staffer. It'd be a little bit of a. You'd have to sift through a lot of information. There are lots of bills and keywords. That was helpful. There are lots of bills and there are lots of keywords. Now, I didn't know that, but
we do now.
We do now.
And how many people out here now are going to
So we just throw in, let's say, in this example, Hillary Clinton. We just type in her name. Well, we look, nothing. There's no way to know. And then she says, well, Senator Clinton sponsored some 2,600 bills. Okay. I don't think we're going to get very far with this. I'd imagine there are probably resources available outside Congress.gov that put things in layman's terms. This is all from the staff member. Well, then we asked, what if we entered the candidate's name in the issue, like immigration, for example, and see how they voted? Well, if you're on any one Congress member's page, you'll see a list by subject. Look through the policy subject, and you can see more than 26 bills Senator Clinton related to immigration. I don't know, guys. It gets better. It really
just goes
does.
on and on. It really does.
It doesn't change. We found some things on there that people need to know about. We found a couple websites that actually do list how candidates voted. So the good news is it's in the book.
That's right. And some other things we talked about, John, when we were doing the research had to do with issues such as there's something called dialing for dollars, that concept where the new people that come and have to spend 25% of their time working on calling donors and potential donors and past donors that they're required to do that. Otherwise, both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party will cut those people off as far as DNC and RNC funds for the next election. So it's almost like a do this or do that. So the guy that comes up there with the Mr. Smith Goes to Washington approach from that movie 50 years ago, now they go up there, and that's why everybody just gets sucked into this vacuum of just nonsense and getting nothing done.
If you Google search dialing for dollars, it'll come up with a whole list of amazing information about stop fundraising, start working, says Florida Rep. David Jolly. So he's seeking to ban federal elected officials from dialing for dollars. So you can check that out.
Shout out to him, though, for doing that.
That's a good thing that he's trying to do, is quit tying up the Congress people's time with having to raise money.
And you'll see in here, John, that we were right on top of it, because about within a few weeks before this came out on the CBS News 60 Minutes, we'd already written the book, and we actually had touched on that subject, so I think we did real well with the timing of this.
It's very timely. This book is one of those that you're going to need to pick up right away. It's going to have a shorter window for interest because the election is drawing nigh, as they say.
Nigh, as they say.
But we do want people to read this book, and we're sending it out to a list of celebrities, and we're not ashamed of that. We want to evoke their names now so that people can draw attention to this YouTube clip.
Yeah, but they're going to call in, John. They're going to want to respond. No.
Well, we won't want to mention anybody's name, but Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are the first two that come to mind that are receiving a copy of this book.
And the next time they're watching their favorite late night talk show host, they might think about that.
They're saying two regular guys. We don't want to be behind the curve.
Some of these shows in the daytime with people watching, you might see it on there. I don't know.
And people like Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton hate to be behind the curve when it comes to information or in the know. And two regular guys showing them up just wouldn't look right.
It just,
And two regular guys from the Midwest to say it's even worse.
It is worse. It's sad, actually.
You'd think the coasts would have the grip.
They do have the grip.
Is East Coast or West Coast more internet or savvy, information savvy? Does it start in the East Coast?
I think it's a perception, John.
Is New York or L.A.? Let's just get down to it.
Well, the Big Apple, as you know, has the entire worldwide reputation as being the place in the know, but they not only have the grip on things, but they also have the hunch. When you eat over there like Guy Fieri and his show.
If you had the grip, how would you feel?
I don't know.
I'm not even sure, because when you said grip twice in a row like that, it reminded me of some illness.
Grip squared?
We have cartoons in our book, and we have some of the most unique collection of cartoons in our possession because we're mailing cartoons of celebrities to themselves with a copy of our book inside.
Yes.
So I was saying Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump topped the list, but beyond that we have like Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel. These guys are depicted in a cartoon on the toilet reading our book. What better stuff than number 2 book right here?
The number 2 book.
Number 2.
That's the key.
Some of the other people like Ellen, conservative talk show hosts like Rush Limbaugh, Bill O'Reilly. There's a long list of people that are in the know that are getting this book even as we speak. We mailed it out Monday. Today is Friday. You think these folks are rattling in New York right now about this?
I think he's sitting on the toilet right now reading that book.
I think Fallon is out there going, oh man, this is great. I won't wipe with this. This is too good. I'm going to read this.
No, it's not to be used for toilet paper.
No, for reading material.
Reading material only. In fact, I think it's against the law to actually flush this per bill number 10568-5.
That's right.
Now,
there's a flush bill.
Yeah, the flush bill.
The flush bill.
So,
when we get a president, I heard last night on Mark Levin, he's one of the recipients of our book, DC Square, so we want to evoke his name.
Oh, you can't evoke his name unless he gets a response.
Mark Levin gets a little tight in the voice, but he is one of those guys that really lays it out there, and he gets worked up easily.
He gets all lathered up, doesn't he?
Lather. I mean, you could probably soap him down in his lather. He's cleaner than anybody else. Lather.
So he's like a thoroughbred in home stretch. He gets all fired up.
He likes to get a little wound up. Wow. But he's one of the recipients of our book.
Wow.
And I'm proud of it.
Fortunately, no one received the book as posthumously being awarded this book.
No. They're all still alive and kicking. Unfortunately, for some people.
They're still there.
There are others that are, when they receive this book, I believe that their response will be, I've never seen anything like this.
Well, they said that about us when we were...
Well, when they say two regular guys did this, and they'll look at the back of the book, and they'll say, it says, and it shows our picture in a cartoon form, because that's what we do. Greg Daniels and John Cockcroft are two regular guys, so that you wouldn't be misled into thinking we're somebody famous, or like we're using a pseudonym. Like, remember Mark Twain, pseudonym for Samuel Clemens. So we're not doing that here. We're being ourselves, and we're committed to proposing an idea.
It's a great idea too, but it is, and as John said, it is a great idea. But it's also very fun to read, and it's educational.
Yeah, but
it helps people to make the most informed decision.
Unless you're unable to read, let's say you're blind, it's not in Braille.
That's why I talk so much. I can't read.
If you want it in Braille, you're going to be sadly lacking.
And to show them how serious it is, that's something you wanted to do the honors on that particular, because I think that says in a nutshell what is great about America and why we need to get this book read and get the word out.
Let's play a little trivia. Who is attributed to this famous quote? An educated voter will keep elected officials in check. An educated voter will keep elected officials in check, creating common sense voter consistency in the elected officials' succession process by upholding constitutional rights. Failure to honor this privilege by not studying the issues creates ignorant voters who jeopardize the many freedoms we've enjoyed. If a free people apathetically decide not to vote or vote for myopic reasons, we will eventually erode the free election process.
Period.
Who said that?
I'd say the first person that calls in with that correct answer gets a free copy of the DC Squares.
DC Squares.
And maybe we'll tell them in a little bit who actually came up with that quote.
That is awesome. Awesome stuff. Yeah, our electorate process will be eroded if we keep... we talk about millennials. Millennials, hey, listen up. 18 to 35-ish, okay? Voting for myopic reasons, for personality and looks.
Because he's a cute old man.
Bernie's a cute old man. Oh, Rubio, he looks good in a suit. Well, there's got to be more than that, right?
That's right.
And I'm not saying Bernie's a bad candidate or Rubio's a bad candidate, but can't we vote for them for purposes other than their appearance?
By the way, I used to look good in a suit when I was young, good-looking, built, and had hair. Now my wife
Did you
reminds
get
me
any
of that.
votes?
None. Not to this day. I didn't even get votes when I was in high school.
I'm a little peeved too because I can remember decades ago when I too looked good in a suit, and I did not receive any votes either.
However, in high school I was voted most likely to recede, talking about my hairline.
Yeah,
and I think posthumously I
working on
believe that I may get that eventually.
Most likely to
Working
recede.
on it.
I'm working on some new ideas about how to get elected to the highest position I can think of, and that is the position of a good dad.
I like that.
Seriously, why do people want to be a president when they could be a good dad?
Can they be both?
Was King David a good dad? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say
yes.
no.
He just had a wandering eye.
I'm going to say his son Absalom was trying to kill him. This is back in the book of First Kings. And his son trying to kill him means probably some issues in the family.
There's always issues. My son, Zachary.
Oh, my son, he just went after me with an army to kill me today. I mean, how many people can say that? Your son had an army?
No, but if he had an army, he would have come after me.
Okay. So there's stuff out there. You know, things
there
happen.
is. Well,
anyway,
Trump looks like a
I'm
good
not saying
father.
it's an easy thing to be a good father.
It's not.
Other people can aspire to different things too, and there's many good and noble aspirations. Perhaps president is one, but we're mocking this whole thing about presidents because the public sees them as whiners, backstabbers, mudslingers, liars, criminals. All of this. Hillary for prison. I mean, we're seeing this stuff.
We've seen those shirts.
Now, what is another country to think when they see the greatest nation on earth, the most public nation on earth, is being run amok with a bunch of trash talk about their officials?
Every candidate's been thrown into trash about something. I love when they refer to Trump as a spoiled billionaire who's also a reality TV show host. The reality TV show host on Trump is like one tiny slither of less than 1% of his whole professional life. He's built an empire, not saying it's perfect, but he's built an empire. But he's the guy, I think, getting so much traction because people are tired of the same old, whether it's Democrats, Republicans. They all talk a good story and they're great speakers and they make you really believe they care, but no, they don't do anything.
But if Trump's involvement in a public show, like a reality show, is a detriment, how stupid is that? Because every one of the voters is wrapped up in reality TV or something else in the pop culture, and that's exactly what they should be doing. Connected candidates to the culture, involving themselves. So what if he's got a reality show? That should be an asset.
It should be.
Do you have a favorite daytime or evening show that you like to watch? Encourage the host of that show to mention DC Squares, How Voters Can Win the Presidential Election by Greg Daniels and John Cockcroft. Tell them they've got that in the mail. They know who they are. They've received a copy, the one with the cartoon on it. They got a cartoon of themselves on it. Set this.